When I haven't eaten for a while and get hungry, I tend to get grumpy or hangry. Has anyone here had that happen to them? All right, there are a few of us that get the hangers. Well, my kids to this day remind me to have a snack to keep my usually sunny disposition intact. We know for lots of reasons that it's important to satisfy our hunger. In reading the scripture commentaries, I found that today's story of the feeding with the loaves and the fishes is the only miracle story that occurs in all four Gospels. So there's something universal about its message that's important to ingest, no matter what our location. I believe this Gospel invites us to reflect more deeply on tables of love that satisfy our own hungers and ones where we can help others to satisfy their hungers. In doing this, I think there are two important points to keep in mind. First, satisfying our hunger or someone else's sometimes takes a circuitous route. It certainly did for Jesus in today's scripture. At the end of his boat ride, Jesus was expecting to be fed by the silence and remoteness of a deserted place. Instead, he was feeding the crowd with healing, compassion, bread, and fish. Jesus' flexibility was admirable as he put his own needs aside. However, after the people had gone home, the gospel goes on to tell us that he went up to the mountain to pray alone. Jesus modeled the importance of coming back to our own need or hunger, in this case, for compassionate self-care. Second, there is mutuality in feeding and being fed. Let us be open to the mutual nourishment offered to us in these moments. We'll now consider two tables of love, where we feed others and are fed ourselves. The first table of love is community, specifically our Mary Magdalene community. The hunger for spiritual and intellectual nourishment and companionship can be satisfied in several ways. The book club offers a forum for nourishing discussion. Reiki Share for Peace is a contemplative time of quiet and sharing that feeds our souls and those in the world through our prayer. The Gospel of Thomas, Lectio Divina, and intentional prayer groups offer reflective times that satisfy the hunger for profound connection with the divine. The hiking group invites us to be fed by wild beauty of nature and the pulse of love in all creation. With mutual affection, we also feed nature through our loving presence. The weekly gathering to pray the rosary outside the ICE office offers prayerful nourishment and support for those in our immigration system. Our Sunday liturgies are times to feed and be fed by one another through sharings during homily response, through the sharing of a meal, through our presence and prayer, and through our conversations. Phone calls, emails, cards, and texts to one another are also moments of nourishment and connection. Our community table of love in these ways and more enfleshes the nourishment that Jesus spoke about today. Truly an embodiment of the God who loves us in every moment. Let us each reflect. How does this community, or perhaps another group, provide a nourishment of mutuality for you, where you feed and are fed in moments of challenge, joy, sadness, and celebration. A second table of love I want to share is one provided by the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum. This museum provides truthful and sobering accounts of one of the darkest moments in human history. Love is at the heart of this institution, which strives to remember what happened during the Holocaust so that it never happens again. It is critically important to hear the stories about those who did not survive, as well as the redemptive ones of hope. The museum's recent publication, Witness to the Truth, is a table of love that relates a story about Lieutenant Marie Knowles Ellifritz, a 22-year-old U.S. Army nurse who cared for survivors of the Mauthausen concentration camp. She said the sights she witnessed were shocking. As a registered nurse in an evacuation hospital, she and 39 other U.S. Army nurses worked tirelessly to care for thousands of survivors. Marie said this about those suffering from extreme starvation or illness. It seemed to take 1 to 3 days to convince them that they were truly free at last. And when that reality came, they simply closed their eyes and died in peace and freedom. There were others who knew immediately they were free, and they rejoiced and began to make plans for the future. These nurses provided tables of love for so many by feeding them not only physically, but also mentally and spiritually. Marie put it this way: we let the fresh air, the sunshine, the space, and most of all, their freedom to do its work. Although not specifically mentioned in this article, I think we can reasonably assume that she and the other nurses had at times to delay their own need for rest, just as Jesus did. Lieutenant Marie Knowles Ellifritz enfleshed the God of love and freedom to so many, feeding them through her compassionate, healing presence and medical expertise. She, in turn, was fed by the patient's hope, resilience, and peaceful spirit. Let us ponder. When we are confronted with an extreme challenge, can we see it as an opportunity to enflesh a table of love where we feed and are fed? Whether an individual or group experience, with other people, with our animal friends, or with nature, I encourage us to consider this experience as a table of love, offering us the mutuality of feeding and being fed. Thank you for the many ways you have each nourished me. And may we continue to be the bread of life and wine of compassion for one another and the world.
At me. Do you understand, Mr. Dog? Okay, he understands.